My mother-in-law moved in, for a few days, then started rearranging our furniture, and our lives. So this started 4 months ago, and I swear I've been trying to be chill the whole time. I, 31M, live with my wife, 29F, in a small but decent 2-bedroom house just outside Minneapolis. It's nothing fancy, but it's ours. We both work full-time, me from home in a remote marketing job, her in corporate travel. Ironic given what's happened since. We've always had kind of different families. My parents live in Arizona and mind their business. Her side? Think oversharers with crystals. My mill, Linda, is sort of a mix between a burned-out life coach and a recovering yoga influencer. You know the type. Kombucha in mason jars, always talking about her gut flora, and lighting sage when someone sneezes. Not evil, just a lot. Anyway, back in January, Linda called my wife crying after her 3rd divorce. I swear this is just her thing now. Apparently husband number 3 had run off with someone younger and gluten-tolerant. She was devastated. My wife was heartbroken for her. She has nowhere to go, she said. She needs space to figure things out. I agreed. Of course I did. Linda's place was being sold, she was emotionally wrecked, and I'm not a total asshole. We had the 2nd bedroom we weren't really using except for my work-from-home setup, and the idea was she'd stay a few days to clear her head and apply for a new apartment. Emphasis on few, maybe a week, tops. The first 2 days, everything was fine. She came with one small suitcase and an expensive-looking set of essential oils. She offered to cook dinner, insisted we let her bless the kitchen, whatever that meant, and even folded our laundry on the 2nd night. Honestly, it felt like she was trying too hard. Like she wanted to prove how useful she could be. I remember telling my wife, wow, this might not be so bad. That optimism lasted maybe 5 more days. Somewhere around day 7, she started doing what I now call micro-claiming. First it was the spice rack. She didn't ask, just moved all the jars around and labeled them with handwritten calligraphy tags. Your system was chaotic, she said, like she was doing us a favor. Next it was the couch. She rotated it 90 degrees. Better energy flow. Then the shoes at the door. Apparently we needed a shoes-off policy, even though we never had one before. I brought it up to my wife. She kind of laughed and said, yeah, she's nesting. She does that. I asked, isn't she supposed to be looking for her own place? My wife looked tired. She is, but she's still really raw from the divorce. Just give her a little time. So I did. I bit my tongue and tried to be understanding. Week 2, Linda started buying groceries. On the surface, helpful. But she bought the weirdest stuff. Fermented seaweed snacks, oat milk kefir, these $10 protein bars made from cricket flour. My frozen pizza got tossed because processed food lowers your vibration. My wife shrugged and said, just hide your stuff in the back of the fridge. By week 3, she started inviting people over. Not friends. Strangers. She said they were part of her women's resilience circle or something. I came home from the gym one day and there were 6 barefoot women sitting on the living room floor humming with their eyes closed while Linda burned what smelled like lemon-flavored garbage. I was like, what's going on? And Linda, dead serious, goes, we're healing ancestral grief through sound. I looked at my wife, who just said, I told her no more singing after 9 p.m. The next morning, I had to take a Zoom call from the bathroom because Linda had turned the 2nd bedroom into her meditation and creativity sanctuary. She'd moved my desk into the hallway, again, without asking. I asked if she planned to get a job or find an apartment anytime soon. She said, I'm not in the energy space to make big decisions right now. I brought it up again to my wife. She looked even more exhausted and said, I know. I'll talk to her. Just give me until next weekend. I need to figure out how to say it. That weekend came and went. Nothing changed. It started to affect us. Our routines were off. We stopped watching our shows at night because Linda didn't like screen time before bed. We stopped having sex regularly because, as my wife put it, it's hard to feel romantic when your mom's chanting in the living room. I was getting resentful. I couldn't even fart without thinking someone might be recording chakra vibrations in the next room. One night, I opened the pantry to grab some cereal, and my cinnamon toast crunch was gone. In its place, a handwritten note that said, no sugar after 6 p.m. Your microbiome will thank you. That's when I realized I was losing it. Not just annoyed, losing it. This woman was taking over my life inch by inch. And no one was doing anything to stop it. But I didn't say anything that night. Or the night after. Because every time I even hinted at a boundary, my wife would say, "She's trying her best," or, "Don't make this harder than it already is." Meanwhile, Linda started sleeping later and later. Started wearing my wife's old college hoodie like it was hers. Started making suggestions about how we could rearrange the household roles. I wasn't even sure what that meant, but I didn't like the sound of it. Then came the camera incident. You ever walk into your own room and feel like you're trespassing? That's what it had come to. I wasn't even mad anymore. I was past mad. I was in that weird zone beyond anger where everything feels surreal, like you're watching your own life from the ceiling. And you just keep asking yourself, how the hell did I let this happen? It had been over a month since Linda moved in. She wasn't sleeping on the couch or anything. She'd fully claimed the second bedroom, which used to be my home office. The desk was now in the hallway. The bookshelf had been replaced with an altar of crystals, tarot cards, and a mason jar filled with feathers and what I think were chicken bones. There was a small fountain in the corner. No, really, a bubbling water fountain that made the whole hallway smell like wet rocks. My job was suffering. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't take meetings without someone in the background smudging sage or playing healing sound bowls on YouTube. I started going to the local library just to get work done. Me, a grown-ass man, exiled from his own house by an aggressively spiritual boomer. My wife noticed. She said I was being distant. I said I was trying to survive. She told me to try harder. But let's talk about the camera. Because that's where this story really goes off the rails. It was a Thursday afternoon. My wife had left for a 3-day work trip to Chicago. Linda was still at home, obviously. I was alone for the first time in weeks. The house felt weirdly empty. Not peaceful, just tense, like the walls were holding their breath. I went into our bedroom to change. Nothing dramatic. I took off my shirt and tossed it on the bed. That's when I noticed the blinking light on the nightstand. Tiny, red, blinking. I leaned closer. It was a mini security camera. The kind you can buy on Amazon for $39.99 and connect to your phone. It was pointed directly at our bed. At first, I thought I was having a stroke. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, leaned in again. Still there. I picked it up. It was warm. Still recording. My stomach did this slow, cold flip. I looked around the room, half expecting someone to jump out and say, "You're on a hidden camera show." But no, just me, a blinking light, and 1,000 racing thoughts. I marched into the hallway, camera in hand, and found Linda in the kitchen stirring almond flour into something that looked like beige cement. I said, "What the hell is this?" She turned, totally calm, like I'd just asked where the salt was. "Oh, that's just for safety." I blinked. "For what?" "For you too," she said, smiling. "I wanted to make sure no one was entering the house at night. There's been a lot of negative energy in the area. Did you know someone broke into a house 3 blocks over last week?" My hands were literally shaking. "In our bedroom, Linda?" She didn't even flinch. That's where most people are vulnerable. Spiritually, psychologically. It's where attachments form. Attachments. She actually said that. I told her to get out of my face. That I didn't care what hocus-pocus logic she had. You don't put a camera in someone's bedroom. Ever. That's not protecting, it's violating. Her smile dropped for the first time in weeks. "I think you're overreacting," she said quietly. "You've been very tense lately. Maybe you should consider a cleanse." I almost laughed. Or screamed. Instead, I went back to the bedroom and ripped the camera cord out of the wall. I sat on the edge of the bed for 10 straight minutes, just breathing. That night, I locked the bedroom door for the first time in my life. Not because I thought she'd hurt me. Just because I didn't trust what version of reality she thought we were all living in. The next day, she acted like nothing had happened. Greeted me with herbal tea. Told me I had a dark spot in my aura, and should avoid electronics for the weekend. I texted my wife. She responded 2 hours later with, "I'll talk to her when I get back." I said, "No, we need to figure this out now." She said, "Can we not do this while I'm in meetings?" I didn't reply. What was the point? Friday night, I caught Linda humming outside our bedroom door. I don't know what she was doing. Meditating? Eavesdropping? Just existing in that strange, floaty Linda space she lives in? I stayed silent. I didn't even open the door. That weekend was the longest of my life. By Sunday night, I'd had it. I was sleeping with headphones in. I was making meals in silence. I was a ghost in my own damn house. Then I found the journal. It was sitting on the kitchen counter, half open. I know I shouldn't have read it. I really shouldn't have, but the words, sexual blockage, caught my eye. She'd been writing about us. About our routines, our arguments, our lack of intimacy, our disconnection as a sacred union. She wrote that she felt called to intervene before long-term harm occurred. Intervene. That's the word that made something in my chest snap. I texted my wife again. No response. I stood in the living room. Looked around at my own home. Incense sticks jammed into every corner. Throw pillows with words like, breathe, and, a line, embroidered on them. A dream catcher hanging from the goddamn ceiling fan. And I realized, I was done. I didn't know how, but I knew I was getting her out. One way or another, but not yet, not while my wife was out of town. Not while Linda had the upper hand. No, I'd wait, I'd plan, I'd find my moment. It came 3 days later. I called in sick to work. Told my boss I had food poisoning. Technically a lie, unless you count spiritual nausea from living with your mother-in-law as a form of illness. Which, honestly, I do at this point. I woke up that morning with a clear head for the first time in weeks. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was calm, focused. Not angry, past that. Just, settled, like someone about to make a clean cut. Linda had left the house around 10 a.m. She said she was going to Whole Foods and then to browse energy stones at some shop called Moonbeam Mystic. She kissed the air near my cheek before leaving, like I was a dog she was politely ignoring. I'll be gone a few hours, she said, already halfway out the door. Perfect. I had everything ready. I'd spent the night before watching YouTube tutorials on how to replace a deadbolt. I had bookmarked locksmiths in my area. I'd even gone to Home Depot earlier in the week, just to browse, and walked out with a bag full of brass hardware and a quiet kind of resolve. By 10:30, I was at the front door with my tools and the new lock kit. First time I'd ever used a drill on something other than IKEA furniture. My hands weren't even shaking. That surprised me. 20 minutes later, it was done. New locks, new keys, one copy in my pocket, one hidden in the backyard toolbox, and one I planned to give my wife, eventually. I stood there for a full minute, looking at the door. It looked the same. Just a door, but it felt different, like I'd finally claimed my own house back. Then I went upstairs and packed her things. I wasn't vindictive about it. I didn't throw anything, didn't break her crystals or spit in her kefir. I packed her clothes neatly in her original suitcase and an extra duffel bag. Her essential oils, her tarot cards, her weird little singing bowl. I even wrapped her Himalayan salt lamp in bubble wrap. I left everything on the covered porch. Weather was mild, nothing would get damaged. On top of the suitcase, I placed a note. It said, Linda, you've been here longer than you said you would. This house is no longer available to you. I wish you peace and healing elsewhere. My name. No threats. No insults. Just boundaries. Then I waited. I sat in the kitchen with my phone face down on the table. Kept checking the clock. 1:07 p.m. 1:42. 2:19. I cleaned the stove, swept the hallway, rearranged the spice rack back to how it used to be, labels out, alphabetical. It felt symbolic, petty, maybe, but satisfying. At 3:03, I heard her car. Subaru. Crunch of gravel, then silence. I didn't move. I waited. 5 seconds later, the door handle rattled. Another pause, then a knock, another knock, then I heard her voice, muffled but unmistakable. Hello? The lock isn't working. Pause. Sweetheart? Longer pause, then a change in tone. Still calm, but sharper. Are you home? I didn't answer. She knocked again, this time louder, then again, harder. Then I heard the bag zippers rustling as she saw her things. The pause that followed lasted almost a full minute. Then came the sound of footsteps. Not walking away, circling the house. She knocked on the back door, the side door, even tried the garage keypad, which I'd disabled earlier. She was thorough, I'll give her that. Then came the yelling. What the hell is this? You think this is okay? She was standing at the kitchen window now, hands cupped around her face, peering in like a raccoon looking for snacks. My name, open this door right now. I still didn't move. I just stood in the hallway, heart pounding, phone in hand. I wasn't recording. I probably should have been. But I felt paralyzed. Not with fear, with finality. Then she called my wife. On speaker. I could hear both ends through the window and the speakerphone echo. Honey, he locked me out of the house. All my stuff is on the porch like garbage. Can you believe this? A beat. Then my wife's voice. Wait, what? He's inside. I know he's inside. He's ignoring me. Pause. Oh my God, my wife said. Oh my God, are you serious? Linda added extra drama. He left me outside like a dog. And my wife? She cried. Not screamed. Not yelled. She just started sobbing. I finally opened the window just a crack and said, Linda, I'm not going to debate this through glass. You need to go. Your things are packed. You can call your sister or a hotel. But you're not living here anymore. She stared at me, eyes wide, like I'd slapped her. Then she picked up her phone again. Call the police, she said. That got my attention. Really? I said. You're calling the cops because I changed the locks on my own house? She didn't answer, just walked to her car, slammed the door, and sped off. My phone buzzed 30 seconds later. Wife. I picked up. Hey. She was sobbing. What did you do? I took our house back, I said quietly. You locked my mother out while I was away? She left me no choice. She's crying in her car. She has nowhere to go. She has family. She has money. She has options. She just refuses to use them. Silence. I can't talk to you right now, she finally said. I need space. She hung up. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've been living alone. No incense. No humming. No kombucha lectures. No Linda. Just me and the echo of every decision I've made. And the door? It's still locked. She came home on a Monday. I'd been bracing for it all weekend. Running scenarios in my head like a lawyer prepping for trial. What I'd say, how I'd stay calm, where I'd draw the line. I even typed out talking points on my phone in case I froze up and needed to read from a script. But when I heard her car pull into the driveway, everything went quiet. No thoughts. No defense plan, just the heavy weight of what was coming. The door opened. She walked in, alone. No suitcase. Just her purse and phone clutched in her hands like a lifeline. I was in the kitchen. I didn't move. She stepped inside, looked around. The house smelled like lemon cleaner. No incense. No herbs. Just clean. Where's my mom? She asked, like she was asking what time it was. I said, not here. Obviously. I stayed quiet. She dropped her purse on the table. Looked at me for the first time. Her face was unreadable. Somewhere between shock, grief, and deep, low-grade rage. You changed the locks. Yes. You didn't talk to me. I tried. You wouldn't listen. That's not a justification. She was invading our life. I couldn't keep living like that. She's my mother. She was surveilling our bedroom. She said she didn't mean it that way. She wrote about our sex life in her journal. That made her flinch. For a second, I saw the mask slip. She looked down at the floor. Then back at me. You humiliated her, she said quietly. She humiliated us. I just took action. She didn't answer that. Just walked past me and into the guest room. It was still empty. No trace of Linda left. My desk was back where it used to be. The bookshelf reloaded. A small, firm symbol that the house was returning to order. She stood in the doorway, silent. Then she turned and walked into the bedroom. She stopped cold. I'd removed the dreamcatcher, the camera, all of it. I'd stripped the room of anything she might have left behind. Just plain bedding, our old lamps, my hoodie folded at the foot of the bed. Wow, she said, you really erased her. I didn't erase her. I removed the parts she imposed on us. Same silence. Then came the phone calls. It started that night. Her sister, her cousin, even her dad, who hadn't spoken to Linda in over a year, called to ask what the hell was going on. Apparently Linda had told everyone I kicked her out, without warning, that I left her on the curb, that I violently replaced the locks in a rage. None of that was true. But it didn't matter. In their version, I was the controlling son-in-law who snapped. Who isolated his wife from her family. Who couldn't handle a strong woman in his space. The group texts came next. From her aunts. We always knew you had a temper. I can't believe you would disrespect the woman who raised your wife. Your energy has always been off. I stopped reading after that. My wife said nothing. She'd sit on the couch with her laptop, eyes glazed over, phone constantly buzzing. When I tried to talk, She gave me monosyllables. When I asked how she was feeling, she said, numb. We didn't fight, that was the worst part. No yelling, no slammed doors, just, nothing. On Wednesday, she packed a small overnight bag. I asked, where are you going? Justin's, she said. Her brother. For how long? I don't know. And she left. No hug. No, we'll figure this out. Just the sound of the door closing, soft and final. That night, I sat on the couch in the dark and reread the note I'd left Linda. I tried to see it through someone else's eyes. Was it cruel, cold, unforgivable? It still didn't feel that way. It felt like survival. But survival is lonely. The next morning, I got a text from my own mom. Heard about the drama. Don't let them gaslight you. Proud of you for standing up. That helped. For about 5 minutes. Then the silence returned. I went back to work. Zoom meetings. Slack notifications. Emails. All noise. I tried calling my wife on Thursday night. No answer. Texted her Friday morning. Can we talk? No reply. By Friday evening, I cracked and called Justin. He answered, flat. What? Is she okay? She's resting. Can I talk to her? She doesn't want to talk to you. Pause. Can you at least tell her I'm here when she's ready? Click. Saturday morning, I saw a post from her cousin on Facebook. Family should never throw you out like garbage. Protect your peace, no matter what. 100 likes. Comments full of affirmations. All vague. All directed at me. I didn't respond. What was I gonna say? Actually, she installed a spy camera in our bedroom. Didn't seem like it would go over well. That afternoon, I found myself in our bedroom again. I lay down on the bed. Just stared at the ceiling. The quiet was overwhelming. Not peaceful. Just, too much of nothing. And I wondered, not for the first time, had I gone too far? Or was I the only one who ever dared to do what needed to be done? But by then, it didn't really matter. Because I was alone now. And I didn't know if she was ever coming back. It's been 11 days since she left. 11 days since the front door clicked shut behind her and the quiet started to feel like an actual physical thing in the house. Like smoke, like fog, like something alive. I keep the lights off most of the time now. Don't ask me why. It's not grief, exactly. It's more like something with no name. At first, I thought she'd cool down. That she'd need a few days to scream into a pillow at her brother's place, talk shit with her cousin, and then eventually text me, so, can we talk? But nothing came. Just the sound of the fridge kicking on at night and my phone buzzing with work notifications I no longer care about. I've stopped sleeping in the bed. It doesn't feel like mine, even though technically it is now. I moved to the couch the day she left. It wasn't a conscious decision. I just sort of sat there after she walked out, didn't move for hours, and ended up falling asleep with the TV on low and one leg dangling off the cushion like a college kid who passed out after a party. I've been there ever since. It's lumpy and short and the pillows smell like dust, but somehow it feels more honest. Sometimes I scroll through our old texts. Not to torture myself, at least not intentionally, but to remember how we used to sound. Before all this, before Linda, before the world turned into a chessboard and every move was loaded. Back when she sent me selfies of her at the airport eating overpriced yogurt, or sarcastic memes about marriage, or texts like, buy cat litter or face doom. Now it's just silence, or worse, polite coldness when she has to send something logistical. Like last night, she texted, I canceled the shared Spotify. Use your own. No punctuation, no anger, just, nothing. That might have hurt more than yelling. I called her again this morning. Straight to voicemail. I left a message. I don't even know what I said. Something about how this doesn't feel real. About how we used to be a team, even when we didn't agree. How I never thought I'd be the guy sleeping alone in a house that still smells like her shampoo, talking to a lock screen photo that won't talk back. Still no answer. This afternoon, I got a call from a hotel I didn't recognize. Some manager asking to confirm a long-term reservation under my name. At first I thought it was a scam, until he read off the last 4 digits of the joint credit card we opened 2 years ago. She'd used it to pay for a room. Not just for a night, but for weeks. I said it was fine. What else was I gonna say? I got in my car and drove there. Didn't go inside. Just sat across the street like a creep, sipping lukewarm gas station coffee and watching the automatic doors open and close for strangers. At 3:28 p.m., she came out. Hair in a bun. Hoodie I'd never seen before. Cigarette in hand. She didn't use to smoke. She looked small, not broken, but like someone carrying too much. Her face was thinner, dark circles, a slight tremble in her left hand when she lit the cigarette. I almost rolled down my window. I didn't. I watched for maybe 5 minutes, heart racing like I was watching a movie I didn't know the ending to. Then she flicked the cigarette, turned, and went back inside. I drove away. I didn't know where to go, so I ended up in the parking lot behind a Planet Fitness. I sat in my car until the sun went down, then booked a hotel room on my phone. Just one night, maybe 2. I couldn't go back home. Not yet, not while the air still carried her ghost. The room's not great, smells like carpet cleaner and mold. The heater makes a weird clicking sound every 20 minutes. There's a fold-out couch I haven't touched. I'm lying sideways on the main couch, staring at muted reruns of shows we used to watch together. Everything feels like a rerun now. Her family still posts cryptic crap online. Sometimes the people closest to you are the most toxic. Real strength is choosing yourself. Family is more than blood, it's boundaries. Each one gets a flurry of comments. Hugs, hearts, high fives. No one asks what actually happened. No one wants details. Just vibes. I'm the villain in a story no one's bothered to fact check. Maybe they're not wrong. I mean, I changed the locks while she was gone. I made a choice that couldn't be undone. I didn't sit her down, didn't give an ultimatum, didn't say, let's try counseling. I just acted. Maybe I was cornered, maybe I was desperate, but still, I chose the nuclear option. People keep asking in these indirect ways. Coworkers, mutual friends, even my sister, why didn't you just talk to her? I did. I begged. I pleaded. I dropped hints, raised concerns, even cried once in the shower when I thought no one could hear. I talked until I was blue in the face. No one listened, no one moved, so I did. But now what? Now I'm here, in a stranger's hotel, with one bag of clothes and a toothbrush that tastes like cardboard. I bought a paperback from the hotel lobby shelf. Some self-help thing someone left behind. Half the pages are underlined. There's a sticky note on page 117 that says, just leave next time. Don't fight. I don't know who wrote that. I don't know if they were right. Sometimes I imagine us meeting again in a year. Some neutral place. A coffee shop, maybe. She's wearing something beige. I've lost 10 pounds. We sit down, order drinks, and say everything we were too scared to say when it mattered. I apologize. She forgives. Or maybe she doesn't, but we understand. Other times I imagine never seeing her again. Just fading into each other's rearview mirrors. A name you flinch at when it shows up in old emails. A smell that makes your stomach drop in a store. A chapter you skip over when telling someone new the story of how you got here. Either way, I don't think I'll ever go back to that house. Even if she wanted me to. Too many echoes. Too many shadows. Too many little psychic bruises that only I can see. It's not about Linda anymore. It's about me. About what I became to survive. And whether that version of me deserves anything more than a fold-out couch and a mute television. Maybe I'll find out. Or maybe I won't. Either way, tonight I'm still here. Waiting. Listening to the heater click. Trying to remember the sound of her voice when she used to say my name like it meant something soft.